So this video is going to be talking about persuasive speech topics. Now typically at this point I have students who will start asking me, hey, can I talk about the legalization of marijuana? And the answer to that question would be no. But I am going to talk about what you can discuss in the speech. So first off, I want you to use your own inspiration, but keep in mind there are a couple of requirements that your topic will have to meet. The first one is the topic needs to be current and or contemporary. So by that, I mean you need to start looking around in the news, see what's going on. So an example of how you can utilize this is the death penalty as a topic is horrible. It's been done to death. But if you've been paying attention to the news, you know the U.S. Supreme Court just ruled Florida's death penalty is unconstitutional because they don't rely on a unanimous jury decision. So you could actually take that and turn that into a contemporary topic. It could be something like, Florida should only allow the death penalty in cases when the jury has reached a unanimous decision. And the speech would just focus on that. And that would actually work. Some other contemporary topic subject area suggestions: Syria, drugs and prison time, but not pot. Gun control, that's always a really popular one. Patents and the Citizens United case. If you don't know what that is, it's a Supreme Court case. These are just some suggestions. You're not limited to that. Requirement 2, the topic has to be controversial or unexpected, right? So things like exercising, texting while driving, drinking more water. We know we should or shouldn't do those things, but, convincing us to run or take a walk or give up caffeine or soda or drink more water, if we already agree with those things, there's no point in doing that. So think about what your audience doesn't already agree on, and that will be a much better place to start. So something like textbooks are expensive. I'm sure all of your audience would jump up in joy and agreement on that, but if they already agree, what's the point? So next requirement, make sure that it does relate to them. So not only do you have to think about what they would dislike or disagree with, but you also have to think how you can connect to them. So for instance, I had a student who submitted this topic. This doesn't relate to a college student. It might relate to maybe her daughter, or something like everyone should consider adoption. Again, for college students, that's not relevant. Requirement 4, you need to make sure it's a researchable topic. If you can't find research on this and 5 sources are required, then you won't be able to do the topic. The 5th requirement is the topic has to be specific and narrowed. If I'm going to approve it, I have to know what you're going to be discussing. So gun control, I brought that up earlier, but that's really more of a subject area. I don't know if you're talking about concealed weapons, assault weapons. Maybe you want to discuss background checks or the private sale loophole that people critique of gun shows. Without specific information, without narrowing it down, I don't know, and I'm thinking that, right? So you need to make it specific. What specifically do you want to accomplish or change? You need to ask yourself that. So an example of a better topic is to persuade my audience the U.S. government should ban assault weapons. This is specific and clear. The last requirement is the topic must ask for a change. So when I'm talking about a change, what I'm really talking about is question of policy. Question of policy is a specific format for a topic that asks for something to change, some sort of action has to occur, and it either has to be the audience or an institution taking on that action. So the focus, again, like I said, has to be on something changing. So question of policy has 2 options. You have personal action and passive agreement. So let me first start with personal action. Personal action is going to focus on the audience making a change, whether it's going for a run or calling a friend. It has to be something they can do. So for instance, a topic could be, convincing the audience to do an annual doctor visit or to get a flu shot. Whatever it is, it has to be something the audience can do. So passive agreement is the opposite. It's an institution making a change. So to stick with healthcare, the U.S. should universalize healthcare, or all hospitals must have therapy animals on staff. This is something an institution like hospitals or the U.S. does. So remember, 2 options, personal action and passive agreement. The difference between them is who is making the change. That's going to dictate what it is. So if the change is something an individual is going to do, it's personal action. But if it's, say, the White House or Florida, it's passive agreement. Now, the last thing I need to talk about, banned topics, abortion, prostitution, and I'm sure you saw this coming, anything on marijuana, the death penalty, puppy mills, animal testing, physician-assisted suicide, smoking, texting while driving, and lowering the drinking age. If you bring up any of these topics, this will be my reaction, so don't bring them up. All right, and that is it.